Before we start our meeting tonight, Steve has some service awards he wants to read. I don't guess anyone's here, but
I don't believe we have anyone here yet, but I'll go ahead and read the names. From the Public Works Department is John Nixon. He's been with the city of Bethany for 5 years. And we have Rick Lemon, who works in our police department in the with the computer network. He's been with us for 5 years. We have Angelo Orfisi, who has been in with the police department for 10 years. And Lieutenant Culberth, Christopher Culberth, who has been with the police department for 15 years. I remember Chris's first day at work. He was on my shift, and he was involved in a fight. It was a pretty interesting fight. So anyway.
well, congratulations to them and their time of service. Flag salute, please. Tonight's invocation will be by Councilmember Holloway.
Please bow with me. Dear Heavenly Father, we just approach you tonight humbly, Lord, and we just thank you for the opportunities that you've given us in America, Lord. Thank you for the privilege of voting. Lord, help us to always consider your ways, your mind. Help us tonight to do your business and bring glory to you, Lord, that we empty ourselves of our own selfish wants and desires, and that we're filled to overflowing with your Holy Spirit, Lord. Be with each one here at the Horseshoe. Be with their family members. Let them feel your closeness. Lord, be with each one of the staff members. Guide them, direct them, give them strength in their daily duties at the city. Lord, be with each citizen, Lord. Help them with their families. Bless their families. Protect them. Give them the strength to do the things that they have to do daily, working, providing for their families. And Lord, we just pray in all these things that we bring glory and honor to you. We pray these things in Jesus Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Please face the flag. Attention. Salute. Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. The first item on tonight's agenda is the consent docket. We have items A through D. Do any of those need to be pulled or addressed separately? If not, I will take a motion on the consent docket as a whole.
Motion to approve, please.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Please post your votes. Thank you. Item 2 is call to the public. If any member of the audience wishes to address the council, please step forward to the podium. First state your name and address, and you will have 3 minutes to speak. Anyone? Hearing none, I'll move to item 3. David, you said that had been pulled from the agenda at the request of the applicant?
Actually, more than that, it's been formally withdrawn.
Okay.
And I think the minutes should reflect that that item was withdrawn by the applicant yesterday, April the 4th. And we have no indication of future plans.
Okay.
Does that mean that they're going to go back to what they were originally going to do?
I'm not certain what it means, really.
Okay.
We just received a letter that said they wish to withdraw their application, and I'm just reporting what they told me.
Does that include what we voted on before, or does that?
No, what you voted on before is final.
It's
Still in effect. The part that's under the walkway, that was closed by you. But recall, you reserve the right to reopen that in the future. And the only way that can be ended is if they take that to district court.
Have they taken that to court?
No.
So that's not in effect.
Well, the ordinance closing it is in effect, but you still have the right to reopen it. So that's still that's a closed public easement.
So have they made changes
I'm not sure.
in the utility itself?
No, I don't believe they have. I don't know that, maybe the engineer would know. I don't know of any changes that have been made to the water lines on that property.
I'd just be
Can
curious.
Can you clear this for this speed brain here? We gave him an easement. Is that correct?
I believe they gave us an easement when the water
I
line
mean,
was
they gave
built.
us an easement, okay. And I assume that was filed so they could build. Is that correct?
It was recorded so that the water line would be in a public easement, yes.
And that
But
water
they're
line-
building over it.
I'm not sure what they're doing, other than you approved closing a short portion of the easement that I believe had a sidewalk or a covered walkway over it. That's what you've done so far.
Is it a walkway or is it a building?
Yeah, I understood it was a covered walkway.
It's covered, enclosed, with concrete on the floor?
Yeah.
The original easement is a covered walkway, is what is going over that easement.
Okay, so the line breaks. It's not if, it's when. The line breaks. That building, that walkway, whatever you want to call it, it's got a roof and walls on it and concrete slab. Who's responsible for that building when that water breaks?
If it's immediately underneath where that, my understanding is if it's immediately underneath that where that easement is, that's their private easement now, it would be their responsibility.
If
And
that,
who determines where the break is?
My guess would be that would be Public Works. I don't know.
I might
That-
back
that's-
up.
That's what I'm getting in my conversation right now. Originally, when this was brought before us years ago, we dedicated an easement for that up through there. The Children's Center paid for the water line from 0 to X. Then they put a fire plugs along this, which the city of Bethany has to maintain because they dedicated this water line to us when they put it in.
Let me ask you a question, Mr. Shirey, just to clarify, I think I'm following what you're saying. If we have a water meter here anywhere in the city, from the meter out is the city's responsibility, right? From the meter in is the owner's or the homeowner or the owner of the property's responsibility.
Yeah, but I don't think that's the case on this property. I think that,
No, I mean, that's the way it is everywhere in the city.
well, take your house, for example. The city is responsible to the meter. From the meter to your house is your service line.
Right.
So if there's a problem with the service line, that's your responsibility.
So from the meter in is the owner of the property's responsibility.
Generally, that's true,
Is it
except,
generally, or is it the way it is?
well, no, in this case, I believe the city accepted those as public water lines.
So
on that
we're actually
property.
servicing people's water lines on their side of the meter in the city. That's
Well,
what
I don't know, I don't know where the meter
I don't
is.
think that's the correct, I think they're taking the water line, the water meter, they're taking the water meter and servicing from the water meter to their building. But we're having to service 600 foot of 8-inch water main. If it breaks, and it breaks under this portico that they have built in there to go from one building to the other, then we get into a contest of whose problem is it. And it, chop like this down, and we don't know, so we have to send somebody up there to work on it. And my solution is, I would like to see it done, that since they paid for it to start with, they put it in under our specifications, and it's got the water meter, or got the fire plug on it, and as long as they will give us a concession to read that water meter and to service that water meter, and allow the fire department to flow those fire plugs for their own protection, we ought to give them that whole easement from X to 0.
I'd like to know how many properties that we're servicing that we're taking care of the service line.
I don't know of any.
Well, this would have been one, I think.
No, it wouldn't have either, because that water main was in a utility easement, which the city of Bethany has total control over. And if that big water main breaks, it's our problem. But if it breaks under that little portico that's in there, then who rushes up there to fix it?
I think it may be a semantics thing we're talking about. The way it turns out, when those lines were installed and dedicated to the city, those became mains.
Yeah, they became ours.
So there's still a service line that they have that connects to those mains. It's just that those mains basically only serve their property. Does that help?
That's basically, you stated the correct question. And I don't know why we just don't give them the whole thing back with the caveat that they will allow us to read the meter on their property and service that water meter. Or if they want to, if they don't want to do that, we set a water meter out the street and let them run a water line up to where they've got to take our water meter out.
I guess I'm just not that familiar with those practices. Wherever I've been involved with water lines, they bring the meter, they bring it out, and they might stub you out 6 inches.
Mhm.
After that, it's you. You've taken it, and boom, it's yours. You own it.
That's basically what this
No one
is.
has said though where the water meter is on the property.
Right.
We don't know where, but this was all hashed out in November.
I would say
We
not.
had quite the discussion in November over this. This is a done deal.
But this is a
As
comeback.
far as, but the comeback has been canceled at the moment, so I don't see reason for discussion because it's been canceled. and
Well,
what
it's not a
done
done
is done.
deal when you have somebody building over a water line when nobody else in this city, and when you have ordinances that say they can't do it. And then, when it happens, not if it happens, you jeopardize lives.
But the
And then
council
at the
approved-
hospital.
Okay.
We voted on it.
Well,
I,
it hadn't been completed yet, though, if it hasn't been sent to court. Is that correct, Attorney Davis?
That's correct.
So it is still an open issue. How are they able to build over that if it had to go to court first?
I don't know that they have built over it.
Okay, so they're not going to connect their two buildings now?
I don't know. I don't think they have yet.
Is there, can the,
Well, we're having a
Engineer.
conversation without their parties. We don't know what their plans are. We don't have any of the representation here.
well, maybe our city engineer can fill us in if he knows some of what is going on.
If you care to.
The original site plan I saw showed a structure over the water line. I believe that's what the 18-foot easement issue was about. I have not been inside their construction fence since construction started. That would be more of an issue for the building inspector, I suppose. Anything on private property, generally, the city engineer doesn't have anything to do with. You're right, these are public water mains on public easements. If they had proposed to do anything to a water line, then I would have had to get involved. We would have had to get permits, do inspections, bonds, all those normal things for public improvements, but nothing like that was proposed. So I really didn't have any business on their property to see if they've done anything. The city inspector may be able to answer your question if they built a building on top of something, but I don't.
Okay.
Again, that's not my.
That answers that
Okay.
question. So I'd like to have a report from the city inspector to the council so that we'll know how this is proceeding and so that we'll be informed.
It said in the handout that we received on this particular thing that they wanted to close that whole easement. They wanted to do away with that easement. And if they did away with that easement, then they would take back the water line that's in that easement and maintain that themselves, which would be less of a burden upon the city of Bethany of our treasury.
I might be able to clarify a little bit of that. It was Mr. Matt Smith of Smith Roberts Baldwin that contacted me over this item, that he actually said that they did not want the water line. They don't have the resources to maintain a big main, and he wasn't sure why they were going that way in the first place. That's what he expressed to me. So they wanted to withdraw the whole concept of them maintaining a public water line.
Okay, that's the crux of this. They don't want to maintain that water line.
That is
That's their
what he
only
told
water
me.
that services them as an exclusive customer.
It is a public main in an easement.
And-
Again.
And if it blows up.
When this
we-
came
we-
before-
We rush Reggie up there and he goes to work.
As far as I know, it's a public main. This came up at Planning and Zoning. In their own thing, it said they're not
It's
going
not
to
my first
molest the
rodeo
water
on
line.
this, I can tell you that for sure.
What's that?
It's not my first rodeo on this, I can tell you that for sure. I've done several of these in the city of Bethany, and the city of Bethany left it up to the people that would service their property to service this main.
It's against the law for somebody to molest one of my public water mains. So if you know somebody working on one of them, then,
That's right, you can't work on it.
right. So they're not proposing to work on
No,
anything, and I'm
they're-
not
they're
aware of
wanting out from
anybody.
under it, yes.
I'm sorry?
They're wanting out from under it.
That was what Mr. Smith expressed to me
But he's willing to take the 20-foot that he wanted to.
absolutely, that was still in effect as far as I know. Where that structure was proposed,
It is.
without going into that. But
I'd
anyway,
like to see us give it all back to them with the caveat that we can flow our water, our fire hydrants, which is a safety factor.
and that was proposed in August of last year, and they have, again, they have withdrawn anything. They are not interested, according to Mr. Smith, who is a board member of the Children's Center, they are not interested, nor are they equipped to maintain large diameter mains like we do.
And you're the city engineer, how well equipped are we to maintain these big?
We do it every day.
Every
We
day.
got the best crew this side of the Mississippi as far as I'm concerned, and maybe the other side too.
That's good.
I'm glad you're proud of our people.
Absolutely. No brag,
Absolutely.
just fact, just like the man on TV. Us old guys remember that, you youngsters.
So they have withdrawn the desire to take responsibility for that line, and yet they have built over a line when we would normally not let anybody else do that. Is that correct? Am I hearing Attorney Davis?
I don't know whether they built over it or not. I just know that
Drive
that.
by there, it's there. Now,
There-
whether they built over, I mean, it's there, and it was in their plans to be there. Do you
I-
know? Is it built over the water line?
I will,
And if they're building without the city inspecting, why?
I will have a report from the city inspector as soon as possible, and I will have it emailed to all of the council.
Sounds great.
Okay, we'll find out.
Item 4 is consideration and possible approval of a contract with Image Works of Oklahoma to lease a Risograph 7150 machine for $1,750 a month. Mr. Steve.
We discussed this in the budget meeting that we had. The lease is $1,750 a month. We can print a week's worth of bills in 2 hours, 2.5 hours, whereas now we're taking a day and sometimes more, because sometimes we're having to take them out to a printer to have them printed, stuffed, and brought back in. What I didn't discuss in the meeting was the maintenance cost is .006 per copy. What that amounts to is if we did 8,000 bills, which we really don't do 8,000 bills generally, it's less than that, and we stuff them with, well, we have the envelope, we have the return envelope, we have the bill, and 3 additional notices, which we've actually never done 3 additional notices before, but at that, it would still only be $288, which is still a savings from what we do now of close to $500 a month. So I was asked this afternoon by one of our council members, thank you, sir, as to why we did not buy this equipment. And the the thing is that our budget just can't actually take a hit of $85,000 for this piece of equipment. We would prefer, the deal is that we have a piece of equipment that we paid not nearly this much money for, but it turned out to not be able to reach our goals. It didn't do what we wanted it to do, and I think it's a better thing for us to lease this equipment and then be able to get out of the lease if it doesn't prove to be effective, and then we can find something else. But I'm really quite sure that it's going to be very effective, and it's going to save us money. It's going to, like I said, it's going to take about 2.5 hours a week for an employee to print these bills, whereas now it's taking 6 to 8 hours a day for them to do it. If everything goes pretty well, it takes that long for it to happen. So, does anyone have any questions?
I was
I-
just,
Go ahead.
I was going to say technology changes rapidly too.
Yeah, it does. And on the other side of it, if we purchase this, and I thought about this after we spoke, I mean, what happens in 2 years when every house has a computer, and I'm not saying that's going to happen, but every house has a computer and everybody's paying online, and I've got a piece of equipment that nobody needs anymore. And, you know, I honestly pay all my bills online. The only thing I write a check for is my church. And you can even do that online if you want to. And so, but for right now, we do a vast majority of our bills are online. But I don't want to set myself up for 5 years and 3 years of that being a piece of equipment we can't use. So the lease, I think, is the best thing for us to do.
Well, with the lease, you have, if the machine blows up or decides not to be cooperative, they exchange it out, do they not?
Yes.
Where if
Well,
you
and
buy
that's
it,
part
you
of the
have a
service.
1-year warranty type thing?
Yeah, but I think that's covered under the service contract. But,
That's a separate contract.
but yeah, that's a separate contract, and we would get that contract if we were buying it also. But again, if we purchased it, the budget would be required to come up with
You purchase it, you get the
considerable
risk.
amount of money. Yeah,
You
and,
take the risk,
and there would be a risk, yes.
I have
If
a
this
question.
doesn't work in, say, 6 months, we can still send it back.
Yeah,
No
the-
fault, no cost.
Yeah, the company was very clear about the fact that they, in fact, lease this out themselves. It doesn't go through a company that leases it to us like a lot of companies do. And they guaranteed us that if in 4 or 6 months we were dissatisfied with the product, they'll come load it back up and take it away. And I felt very comfortable with these people.
It includes parts and labor. Is there anything special about the paper or the ink that
We
makes
do
the
have
price
to,
different?
we have to buy special envelopes. They have a special cut. But what this machine does is it brings in this special envelope and brings in the paper, brings in the bill, and makes the envelope. And I actually have some here.
Basically, it takes an unfolded, unsealed envelope.
Yeah, it takes an unfolded, unsealed envelope and folds it and seals it and just makes an envelope. And all of your information is stored inside there, which would include the bill, would allow us to put information on the back, and inside it would have a return envelope. Of course, they would put a stamp on this, and we put additional information on the inside. I mean, it's an excellent way for us to deliver information to our citizens.
My question is there a big difference in the cost of ink and paper compared to what we're doing now?
We have to buy the ink.
Which we have
but
to do now.
Yeah, which we do now, but the ink will supply 200,000 envelopes. I mean, one drum, I guess, yeah, one drum will 200,000 envelopes, and I mean, it's the quantity was just incredible. Of course, anyway, a lot. Yes, sir.
We'll also be able to go to a color on the invoice without changing our cost on it, which graphically, a lot of people will be we'll be able to go to a color print on it without substantially changing that cost. And graphically, our citizens will, I think, definitely benefit from being able to see their usage in red and whatever instead of grayscale. I'm excited about this opportunity to be able to include additional information, not just one piece of paper, because the machine we have now just absolutely throttles itself if we try to add more than one piece of paper. Well, there's a number of times when the city needs to put out that second piece to say, look, we got big trash, or we've got this, we've got that. We can't do that now without paying additional costs.
You know,
So
how often has the council said, it'd be nice if we could put that, can we put that in the bill? And often we've had to say, well, we've already got this in the bill, and this will put up, I think we're six or 8 sheets we can add to.
Yeah.
I mean, considerable. Now, of course, they're gonna reach a point where the postage gets kind of expensive, but, and I'm sure there are other things that we don't even know it will do that we will learn. Now, this won't be just a copy machine. We won't just be running copies on it, but it certainly will have a very useful purpose.
Do we own our equipment now?
yes,
So we will, is it sellable?
We hope.
We haven't looked at that
Unfortunately,
yet. Will they take it as trade-in?
Well,
I don't think that we're
I
going to
think
be.
labor costs and all, we're gonna save probably $10,000 a year.
yeah, if you throw in labor, it's gonna be
I
very
mean,
close to that.
hey, the only thing that this city controls is labor cost. I mean, that's our big shot.
That's our greatest percent of budget is labor.
Yes, I have had to
Labor.
authorize
And
overtime
we
to
just
get the
have to-
bills out.
That's the only place we can save.
Yep.
And if we can buy a piece of equipment to save us $10,000 a year, we need to do it. With no possibility of having to put salt and pepper on it about 6 months from now and roll it back into the tank down here.
I agree.
I make a recommendation that we vote on this
Second.
particular
So you're making a motion?
motion to accept this contract.
And you had a second?
Make a motion. You
I made a motion.
You made
Yes,
a motion,
ma'am.
I
I made a
seconded it.
motion.
Yes,
He
I
made
second.
a recommending motion. All right. We have a confused motion and second. Please post your votes. Thank you. Item 5 is the city attorney's report, Dave.
All my items were listed on the agenda.
All right. And David, I want to thank you for your work on the 3 ballot issues that we voted on today. I appreciate you getting that language together and getting that to us in a
Sure.
matter that we could get that out to the voters.
I
Items-
might just say about this lease, this is what's typically called a financing lease. And there was an amortization schedule that I think was in your packet. And that just shows you what the cost would be if you bought it at any given time during the lease, if you wanted to do that. And I don't remember what the interest rate is on this, but it's 8 point something figured into the lease. I don't remember what that is, but you would have the option to pay it off, if you wanted to. But to me, on a piece of equipment like this, my experience over the years is it's smart to lease them as well. I think you get better service if you have a lease than if you own it, for one thing.
Thank you, Dave.
That's all I have.
Item 6 is the city manager's report. Steve?
I have a few things. First of all, Eldon Line, the burn continues. The cleanup, if you've gone by there, it looks great already. We still have big pile of dirt. We still have a great big pile of limbs, but it gets smaller all the time. Steve and his guys are doing fantastic. I have been told, Steve has told me, that they had some experts that went by and checked on the grass, and the grass is doing fantastic underneath. And they're gonna water, and it's gonna all come back the way it was. So anyone who was freaking out about tearing up the park, give it a little while and it's gonna look great. If we could get some rain, it would probably look really great, but that, we will get rain. It will rain. If anyone is seeking employment, we have some employment opportunities with the city of Bethany. Please go to the website and look at the opportunities. And for young people out there, we are desperately, once again this year, desperately needing lifeguards. Last year, we came really close to not being able to open the pool because we did not have the number that are required to open, and it's looking pretty slim right now. So please.
How much does this pay?
This pays $9.50 to $10.50 an hour.
You gotta wait 2 years, Chevy.
Well, I know, but I mean, $10.50 an hour, a young person that's in high school, and you get to look at all the girls all day long. I mean, hey, this is a deal.
Enough with that.
That's $4.50 below minimum wage in California.
That's right.
Enough? Okay. Anyway, there's an application that's online. You can print it off, fill out the application, mail it in, bring it in, drop it off the window. We need lifeguards. The city will pay for the lifeguard training if you'll guarantee to work with us for at least 1 year. The fire truck was supposed to come up tonight, but we had a little problem with the reaching the newspaper on that. It will be up on the next agenda meeting. I'm not going to say anything else about that. The street crews are currently working on a project, and hopefully when that project is over, we will be ready to stripe the parking lot. Striping the parking lot is going to be just what I said, just enough to stripe the parking lot to assist people in parking. And Steve, the city engineer, is going to give us a report on what we need to know to make a decision on where to go from there. So we will have an informed decision, hopefully at the next budget meeting, and we can do that up. So
Great.
that's all I have,
All
Mr.
right.
Mayor.
Thank you, Steve. Item 7 is council members' announcements, comments, and proposals. Councilmember Knapp, I'll start with you tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think the only thing I'm going to speak about is Thursday night, there is a comprehensive plan meeting, so if anybody that would like to see that, it'll be at the Children's Center, 5:30 to 8:30. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Shirey?
Yes, I heard some very, very news today that Councilmember Larson's brother passed away. And you have our condolences, and I think everybody on the city council, you have their condolences. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Herron?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's good to hear about some of the city employees having their longevity here. One of the most important things to employees is a safe and enjoyable work environment, and I hope that's what we're striving towards in the city, and I think we are. And so I'm very pleased to hear that they are staying here for long terms. And thank you, the park is looking good. It's good to see that cleared off, and I see some spots of green. And I also like to thank Jack Flicker for doing his Let's Clean Up Bethany. He hosted that. I wasn't able to go, but I'd like to thank him for doing that. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Councilmember Larson?
I second everything you just said. I am very proud of Public Works, and I've said a lot along that I really hope that come 4th of July that that's the greenest grass we have in Bethany, because farmers burn their fields, and that's got to be awful good dirt out there right now. So I'm excited about that. I also want to congratulate the employees that received their service awards tonight. And for those of you out there that knew my brother, he was a character, and I appreciate all the expressions of memories and recognizing our grief as we go through the next few days anyway. I'm grateful for the memories that we had. He was my big brother, my buddy, my He had J&R Chicken Ranch for a number of years, and he and my mother worked teenagers. I think they had to be stark raving mad to work teenagers, but they trained them up in the way they should go. And every one of them that I heard from both my mother's tenure as the owner and my brother, is the things that they learned in life outside of the restaurant business. And for that, I'm grateful. So thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you. Councilmember Lunstra.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilmember Larson, we do give our condolences to you and your family and loss of your brother. Losing a buddy is never fun, but the memories will go on forever, and that's the beautiful part of it. I did have a phone call today. I wasn't home at the time, but I hesitate to say the gentleman's name during the meeting, but he did call and indicate that he lives in a section of Bethany that he was not allowed to vote on the library. Now, I can't figure out how this happened because they were on the same piece of paper. So if this gentleman would like to clarify his experience with us, I would love to figure out how that happened. So
So he was able to vote on the other two charter?
he left a message on my phone, so it's
Okay.
unclear. But
Okay.
that's what I
He's the only
interpreted.
one.
Yeah,
It's a precinct issue.
It's a precinct issue.
Yeah.
It's the Northwest Oklahoma City Library.
yeah. So if he would like to, clarify that with us, that'd be great. But I do appreciate the fact that, and we've seen and heard folks all over town just up in arms about the park. And Steve, you're right. We need to take a chill pill on this thing. Bless their hearts. Most people get a bit out of shape, over things and lose a little patience. But we are doing things the right way, the efficient way, the fiscally responsible way. And I appreciate you guys' leadership during this entire process, that we are doing it the right way. And that's a key to my confidence in what we do up here as a council, is to know that we are doing things the best that we know how. And the only thing that I would add is that there are still some commercial businesses around that have their tree limbs where it wasn't conducive for them to set them by the curb because of location. There are still some on properties. So not many, but there are some. And if we need to convey that, then we'll be happy to. So, but yeah, great job, and I appreciate your efforts very much. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Moore.
Thank you. I just want to tell Steve that to tell the guys thank you. I grew up with a lot of the Oklahoma City guys in the sewer department and the water department because we were dug ditches in the summer. That's all there was to do. And the city of Oklahoma City is, there's never a problem with equipment. There's never, manpower. They got 4 guys watching, 3 guys watching, 2 guys watching, 1 guy do the job. And the city of Bethany is more like kind of MacGyverish. They'll do whatever it takes to get the job done. It's great to hear you say, we got the best guys south of Mississippi and north of the Mississippi. And you mean it, and it's true. And they do a good job.
Mexico.
I was going to say, I've got the comprehensive plan, the draft, just recently, and I've asked for all kinds of questions to be answered on it, and I've had no response. And I don't know if this is just a done deal with Meg, if they're just saying this is the way it is, boom, take it or leave it. If that's the case, so be it. I don't expect anybody to vote for this thing. Anybody. I wouldn't, because we've tried most of this stuff over Bethany's history. Half of it is wrong information. It's bad information. Garbage in, garbage out. A lot of it is just basically let's partner with everybody and amend the charter. And I don't think they understand where people go to school. 99% of the people in school go to Putnam City schools. Bethany's a great school system. It's one of the best in the country, but nobody from Bethany statistically goes to Bethany. It's Putnam City. But I hope they do take a look at this, because just to call for all these changes and making assumptions based on properties that are just undevelopable, that they've been trying to develop for years, And figuring the tax codes, sales taxes, everybody knows where the sales tax comes from in this city. If you don't, you should. It's 23rd and Rockwell. Boom, period. And to use those codes, I can't get an answer why they use the codes they use. Nobody will tell me. I don't know if it's a secret, if it's proprietary or what. But I'd like to have my questions answered, and nobody seems to answer them. There's some good things in it, too. The primary gateway structures, I think that's a great idea. Have some big structures, spend some money, let them know they're in Bethany. I think painting the blue line's the right way to do it. We need something, I don't know if a giant bull is the way to go or something, but, something that's very professional looking. And the continuation of Route 23 and Route 8 have been talked about since I was a kid, under different guises. But Route 23 it's the #1 bus route in the state of Oklahoma. It comes all the way down 23rd, boom, it hits right before Bethany and heads south. It scoots over and just follows the entire outline of Bethany. And scoots all over to 16th to Rockwell and back down. There's no reason we couldn't find some way to partner with them to go the other 2 miles. And that would create a lot of commerce, extending that route 2 miles. And I think we need to get with somebody at Embark or the city of Oklahoma City and talk to them about it and see exactly what it would take to extend that 2 miles.
They had something in front of us a couple of years ago. I don't remember what the fee was, but
The one I looked at with John was the full city, though, instead of just that route.
Oh,
And there
okay.
was no way we could afford that. But I think just a continuation of the #1 route into the #1 sales tax district would make complete sense. But anyways, that's all I got.
Councilmember Holloway?
Thank you, Mayor. I do want to extend condolences to Kathy on the loss of your brother, Les Schilling, and all the things that he has done. I did not know Les, but I attended the funeral today, and I know he touched many lives and influenced many people. And so, again, my condolences to his wife, Dixie, the children, grandchildren, siblings. I did want to also, once again, say thank you to the staff members for being here, the years that they put in to the city of Bethany. That I think is an excellent thing for the city, that we have staff members that enjoy being here in the city. I know the citizens appreciate it. I appreciate it. And talking about appreciation again, just repeating what others have said, Public Works, appreciate all the hard work on the limbs. And I am glad that the grass, the report on the grass for the park, that should all be all right. The park is, as we call it, our premier park, and we look forward to that looking great during the 4th of July. If that will be able to happen, I hope it will. That it'll be all the limbs burned and be green by that time, maybe get a rainstorm in between there. Yeah, there you go. He said we could have a weenie roast while we're
World's
burning
largest.
the limbs. Yeah, that's a joke. Nobody go close to the park while we're doing the burn. It's very dangerous, and again, we thank staff for spending the hours doing that type of work, so thank you very much. I'm excited about the striping of the parking lot. I think that'll be very beneficial, just to be able to see how to get into the parking lot, how to get out of the parking lot, and actually the direction to park, so that people aren't parking too close to each other. On one foggy morning, people couldn't see the parking lines at all. I mean, during the daytime, you can hardly see the parking lines on there. Now you have to really look very, very hard, but there were people blocking each other in. So this will be a great start to get, just getting the stripes on the parking lot. I don't know if we've heard anything on any of the voting
I was just
today.
asking,
231 votes are in so far. It's just one of
Yeah.
11 precincts.
it's just one of 11 precincts, and we have the absentee, but not near enough to make any kind of call.
All right, okay, thank you.
And I don't know which precinct that is. I don't know if that is Southern
It's
Plaza,
Southern
which we already actually had, but we don't have a better update than that. Councilmember Harris?
I just want to thank everyone for voting today. There seemed to have been a good turnout, so we're looking forward to the results, but appreciate people taking the time to vote. I also want to thank Steve Caton. You're just the man of the hour tonight. But yesterday, a young woman who has special needs approached me and said that the crosswalk lights down at Rockwell and 36th were covered over with some kind of film, and she couldn't tell whether it said walk or don't walk, and she walks back and forth to work. So I contacted Steve, and today they were fixed. I mean, that's very responsive, and she's just going to feel so empowered when she sees them tomorrow. So it's kind of neat when a citizen can get such a fast response, and she'll love that. I did visit a new toy store today that opened over the weekend in the DeVille Center, and it's called Forever Young. So if you get a chance, stop in there. They live in Edmond, but chose Bethany as a place to start their business. So that's always exciting. And again, I love the comp plan, so I'll disagree with you there. I think it just captured what Bethany is and wants to be, and I'm excited about showing it to our people at the open house. I have found them to be very responsive to comments and questions I've put forth to them, and there have been a lot. So I feel they've been very responsive. Again, a reminder, it's Thursday night from 5:30 to 8:30 at the Children's Center, which is one more reminder of why we need meeting rooms in Bethany, because the Children's Center has been so generous to let us keep meeting there every time we get a group together. So things are looking good, and we'll anxiously watch how the vote comes in.
I've got one more thing, Mr. Mayor, if I could. I've had more complaints this week, or the last couple of weeks, over double scheduling meetings. We've got to do whatever it takes to not do that. Citizens, whether it's us or the citizens, so we can go, anybody can attend meetings that are going on. They shouldn't cross each other at all. If somebody needs to fly in for a meeting, that's their problem. It's not ours. It's not the citizens' fault, for sure. I understand people would like to hold all their fly and swoop in and do all their meetings at once, but that's just not the way it needs to work. So if we could just not double schedule meetings, that would be great.
I wanted to say, Ms. Larson, that our thoughts and prayers are with your family. I just found out right before the meeting when you and I talked, and I apologize I didn't know sooner, but definitely tough to lose a loved one, a family member, especially one like a brother that you're so close to. I can only imagine. So our thoughts and prayers definitely with you and your family and his family as we move forward. But we just words can never express what it's like to go through that. But with a lot of prayer, like you said, you've been doing, it's about all we can do.
He's where he wants to be, and for that, he's asked to be there for a very long time. And so when it happened, I do want to share that the chaplain shared with us today that when he first met him, that they were talking about that. And my brother has been paralyzed for 20 years on one side of his body, and he rose both hands. He was ready to go. So despite the grief that I have and my family has over losing him, we're rejoicing with him.
Absolutely.
But thank you, I appreciate you.
Well, it is tough and selfish on our part here, but no doubt being in a better place and being
got what he
home,
wanted.
being truly home is much better. So we're thankful for that. That's all I have tonight. Is there any new business to come before the Bethany City Council? Hearing none, if there's no objection, we will adjourn until April 19th, 2016. Hearing no objection, we are adjourned. I'll now open the Bethany Public Works Authority. We have the consent docket items A and B. Do we have a motion for approval on those items?
Motion to approve, please.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Please post your votes. Thank you. Item 2 is new business. Is there any new business to come before the Bethany Public Works Authority? Hearing none, if there's no objection, we will adjourn until April 19th, 2016. Hearing no objection, we are adjourned. I'll now open the Bethany Hospital Trust. We have the consent docket items 1A and B. Do we have a motion for approval on those items?
Motion to approve, please.
Do we have a second? Please post your votes. Thank you. Item 2 is new business. Is there any new business to come before the Bethany Hospital Trust?
I might just report that through John's persistence, I believe we've finally got all the utility issues resolved with the hospital.
Thank you, John. Is there any other new business? Hearing none, if there's no objection, we will adjourn until April 19th, 2016. Hearing no objection, we are adjourned. I'll now open the Bethany Development Authority. We have the consent docket items 1A and B. Do we have a motion for approval on those items?
Motion to approve, please.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Please post your votes. Thank you. Is there any new business to come before the Bethany Development Authority? Hearing none, if there's no objection, we will adjourn until April 19th, 2016. And hearing no objection, we are adjourned, and that concludes tonight's business. Thank you.